All right, let's give it up for Heidi.
Hello. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. My name is Heidi De Leon, and it's Women's History Month, and it's also international, or I don't know, not international, but Social Work Month as well. And this had me thinking about what that means to a lot of us growing up. Let's start over. I grew up not liking social workers from a very young age. Could not stand them. Every time I heard the word, it was a negative impact, and it all started when I was 5 and having our house raided by the police and having social workers come in and say like, "Hey, I'm here to help you. I'm your friendly social worker." And that set the precedence for me to not like anybody of authority, police, social worker, anybody coming in. And for me, reflecting on that to now become technically a social worker, become what I didn't like, I grew up not liking at all, took me out of my comfort zone, because all my life I had this view of how social workers operated. And then I started meeting people in my life who were also had a master's in social work. And I'm like, well, what do you do with your job? Some of them work in the ER. Some of them are nonprofit managers. Some of them are therapists. So there's so many things that I could do as a social worker. And I remember as a kid, my mom telling me like, I lost my mom when I was 14 due to domestic violence. And one of the things she told me was that, you know, there's so many things that you can do in your life, but you gotta go get an education. You gotta do something different. And that always stuck with me, because as a 14-year-old, I was not the easiest kid back then. And she would tell me, you gotta go get an education, and don't do to me what don't do to me, or I don't want your kids to do to me what I'm sorry, getting stuck. Don't have your kids go through what you're going through, because you're going to want to have a different life. And the only thing I kept saying was, I'm not going to have kids, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do my own thing. And then just the other day, I was telling my kid about how I became, got a master's in social work, and all the things that I had to do, and kind of laying it into my kid about how, you got this easy life, you're 14, and you don't have to do much. But then I think back of how at 14 I was already in juvenile hall and on the streets, and I'm glad my kid is at home not doing anything. And then she's like, and just to think about it, Mom, I'm doing this life because you fought for me not to do this life. You broke cycles so that we don't have to live the way you live. So, I don't want to do all that stuff. And she's very cognizant of everything that I've been through and where we are today. So when she put it back on me, she's like, and also I got a pandemic to brag about when I get older. I'm like, okay, you got me there. But I think it's important that we continue to share the stories. I'll always honor my mother. My mother was striving really hard to change the cycles, because she was adopted and in foster care as a kid, and that happened to me as well. But now, everybody who comes to these doors, we're breaking the cycles. And hopefully when our kids are coming through the doors, they're coming in to be like, that's where my mom works, and to hang out and to be part of the events. We're here changing cycles. So no matter what you do, if you choose to go into social work, come see me, I'll help you out, get you through that. That would be awesome. But there's a lot of options, and take advantage of everything that we have available. And I just want to leave it with that when you don't feel like there's hope, I hope that in the stories that we share every morning, that you find a little bit of hope. And if it's just one person or two, that there's hope there. Thank you.